And I mute.
After school, I have to go downstairs. Sound school.
Yeah. Okay,
You rank.
good. Do you want to do it again?
Judging on this, the golfers are going to suck.
ICAIR.com.
Yay. Okay. Here we go, managing my hand-eye coordination.
Okay, can everybody hear me? So welcome to our inaugural ICAIR information session. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jennifer Campos. I'm the Associate Director of Academics here at Toronto Rehab, and a senior scientist as well. My appointment is in the Department of Psychology at U of T. So thank you so much for being here today. Thanks so much for the Trainee Executive Committee and to Miriam for helping organize this event. Thank you also to Michi, Milosh, and Tillich for agreeing to share their knowledge and answer your questions today. I'm just going to start off quickly giving a rundown of what you can expect from the next hour. So part one, which is really going to comprise, in fact, the majority of the time today, is to really give you a much better flavor of what ICAIR actually is. So we know that a lot of you are very curious about how this differs from Research Day and what all the different subcomponents are and what would be required of you as presenters and attendees and why it's going to be such a phenomenal, exciting, fantastic, wonderful event that is really going to sort of propel Kite to the next level and really kind of target things at an international level. So Majid is going to give you a rundown of some of those logistical details and be able to answer a lot of questions that I know that you have. Milos is also going to provide some opening comments about the vision behind ICAIR and why it's such an amazing opportunity for you as Kite and RSI trainees. And then the second half or the second part of this session is going to focus on how to craft a high quality poster. And the reason that we focus primarily on posters today is because the poster submission is a mandatory component of your submission if you are going to be presenting at ICAIR. So you'll see that there are going to be other potential subcomponents that have other requirements, including the possibility of you being selected to do a 3-minute talk and the possibility of you being selected to submit a manuscript to a special issue that is associated with the conference, which requires an extended abstract. But no matter what, you have to submit a poster. And so today, for the second part of the talk, Tilak and I are going to provide you some sort of high-level tips on how to craft an effective and high-quality poster. And then part 3 is going to be reserved for questions and answers. So if there's anything urgent that comes up, hopefully we deal with it as we go. But in order to kind of keep the flow going, if it's not critical at that moment in time, if you could kind of keep your questions to the end, and then we'll answer all those questions. We also have a forum, and I think it was circulated in the email as well, where you can also post questions. So if your question doesn't get addressed today, then you can either post it there, but of course, you can also come and talk to Majid or I or Milos or others if you'd like to get some more insights. So on that note, I'm going to pass it along to Milos to say a few opening comments, and then we'll move on to Majid.
Thanks, Jenny. So this may look like we decided to do this in a crazy fashion out of blue, but we were working towards this for many years now. Those of you who are old enough and didn't graduate on time, you may have figured out that over the years we've been literally forcing our people to assume different ways of how they prepare posters, and we judge your posters and send you feedbacks before the things went to the conference, before it was presented. And the reason for that was we were trying to teach you how to present world-class posters and stuff. Last 2 conferences, rehab days that we had, were at such a high level that we felt that this is actually better than many of the conferences that we actually go to. And we thought that our people have been exceptionally productive, and we wanted to up the game. And we decided to move this and turn into an international conference. The person who is guilty for that is Majid. He came and told me, we should really do that. We're at this level. We have 450 people who attend this event. We have government who comes to the event. I think we should do this. Also, I have been talking to the different hospitals who are in rehab sector here in GTA, and what they wanted us to do collectively, because we never worked together, was to actually create a joint conference. So we used Majid's vision and idea, your quality work that you had put in last 5, 6, 7 years together, as a good starting point to create this conference. The name of the conference, all this was done and worked such that it has a catchy name. It has something that's easy to market. It's easy to to protect and whatnot. But more important thing is why we're doing this. Toronto is the #1 place in the world for rehabilitation science. Period. Toronto Rehab and Research and RSI, the Rehabilitation Science Institute, have been leading that effort. So the best way to increase the quality is up the competition. So create international conference, bring everybody on board, and let us compete with them. Not internal, local thing. We compete against each other. We compare ourselves to each other. Well, let us compare us to the rest of the universe. So we open it. We create it as an international conference, and we will work with you to help you create the strongest, the most competently done posters and abstracts that you can present. That doesn't mean that your abstract is going to be accepted. It doesn't mean that your poster is going to be accepted. But we'll work with you to get it accepted. And the reason is we want you to be able to learn how to do that so that you're at top level and that you can take these posters and you go to any other conference out there and impress people, completely. So the purpose of the exercise is to give you an opportunity to present in top-notch conference. The conference is going to be hilarious because we get really excellent presenters, which are TED Talk type of people who have 1 million, 1.2 million, or 2 million hits and views, which is outstanding. So we bring you the most exciting people to the event, and we will use you and the rest of the submissions to make this event even more exciting. And the top 20 of you will end up having opportunity to submit a journal publications, which is also very exciting. So you have many points on which you can hit this. And at the end of the day, for those of you who are entrepreneurially inclined, there'll be this power play, Kite Power Play, where actually your startups, your ideas can get awarded, and there will be investors in the space who will be in a position to fund you and get you to the next level. So we're trying to get science and commercialization and impact of this brought to the next level. And I think you're going to have lots of fun. I think it's going to be an excellent conference. It's going to be one day. It's going to be condensed, high octane event that I think you'll all enjoy. And will help you do really well at the event. Okay? That's it for me. You're next. Yeah.
Please start with the question. Okay.
So now you have to use your hand-eye coordination to.
Maybe should just minimize.
Yeah, but you'll have to navigate.
Yeah.
You'll see it on there.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to find it. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Majid Janidarmian, and I'm manager of strategic planning and initiatives here at Kite. So I'm very happy to be here to share with you about ICAIR. And Jenny and Milosh actually already talked about, it's going to be, I think, very amazing event. So I just want to share you what happened and how we could develop actually the ICAIR. So I think some of you actually have been in the research day. So research day was great. And we had about 400 people, the students, scientists, kind of clinicians all together, share the thoughts there, the research, and talk about the innovation. So that was great. So, but always actually we're trying to make it better and bigger. So this year we wanted to add some components in the research day. So Milosh already briefly actually explained, the components. So I'm going to explain actually a bit more. So first, as you see, the name is international. The main reason actually behind this, in addition to what Milosh said, is we have lots of visitors coming from different countries to visit Toronto Rehab, to visit Kite. The main reason behind this is because we are number one. Everyone is interested to know and understand what we're doing, what kind of research we're doing, and also at the same time, we are interested in knowing about them as well. So then we decided to go with that level, international. We want to see other research. We want to share our thoughts as well with them. So that was the first change. So we created different committees to make it happen. So then another component we added was power play pitch competition. So we're talking about $100,000 cash prize. So this is a big deal. This is something actually now we're receiving lots of interest from the companies. They really want to be there. So in addition to Research Day, now we have a component that brings entrepreneurs, brings investors. And because this event is going to be supported by foundation and donors also are going to be invited. So you have a great chance to talk with them, you build your connection. Maybe you can find a new collaborator. Maybe you can secure your funding. There are lots of opportunities this year in addition to what actually you experience in Research Day. So pitch competition, yesterday for the startup, but actually we have a category called concept competition. Still, you can apply. You can all information in the website. I don't want to go over the pitch competition now, but you can get all information there. But I'm just saying the environment is very different. We're talking about more than 1,000 people. So this is a big deal. Another thing actually I think is going to be very interesting for you is the venue. We wanted to actually to help you experience a world-class stage. Something that actually I'm sure most of you haven't experienced to be on that stage. This is something actually we want as an institute to help you to have that kind of experience there. So as you see, this is a theater. It's a John Bassett actually theater in the Metro Convention Center. So we are trying to have that quality, that TED Talk quality presentation. We want to find the best submissions, and we are going to train them. Jenny's is going to train them. Jenny's team is going to train them to come on a stage and present in front of 1,000 people. This is actually what we're talking about. This is another level. This is something actually I'm sure you cannot find it easily actually in other conferences, in academic conferences. So that is, I think, another component we wanted to change it this year. Another, okay, I see it. Okay.
But don't get intimidated. We'll help you, we'll train you, we'll teach you how to do it, and you're going to kill it. Okay? So don't worry about it. Don't get intimidated. Don't worry, it's going to be 1,200 people. We'll help you do really, really well. Okay?
Can you just repeat that?
Yes, so don't worry.
Yes.
So,
Because there's people online.
Okay.
So yes, I mean, this is going to be interesting event, but at the same time, we are going to support everyone actually for training, this kind of info session. For example, like today, Jenny and Tila are going to talk about how you can craft a great poster. So we're also helping you. So it's not something that you're alone and you don't know what you're going to do. And as Milosh also said, we invited 3 great speakers. The first one, Dr. Ruha Benjamin from Princeton University. She's a professor at Princeton, and also she's author of 2 books. So she's going to actually sign the second book for you if you want on the day. So this is going to be great. Another one, Alice Roy. So she's a lawyer, and she leads Google accessibility ads and inclusion efforts. I'm sure this is going to be very interesting. And the third one, Dr. Statisha Raspovich, so coming from ETH, Switzerland, and she's also a co-founder of a company, I think, Sense Art, I think. And I think this is going to be very interesting. And this is going to be like a TED-style kind of talk. It's going to be about 20 minutes, and then we have a short Q&A. But this is, as you see, I mean, we are trying our best actually to bring actually great minds also in the session. Actually, in this day, actually, you can actually just you can share also. You can talk with them. You can meet them. You can see the level of kind of presentation as well. Okay. So I think, well, I mean, I received, actually, Mariam shared with me a couple of questions. So most questions are related to this, how we can register, how we can submit. So this is the registration submission form. So as you see on the left side, you need to sign up first. To sign up, your email, the new password, and done. And you are going to receive an email, activation link. You just need to click on it. Your account is going to be activated, and then you can actually sign in. Very easy and straightforward. When you sign in, let me.
One more comment. Use your institutional email address. If you use Gmail, we'll charge you $450.
So the reason I use that, because this is a test. email because I'm going to explain why I actually use that one. So here, as you see, there are two blocks only. The first one is general info, and second one is registration fee. So, sorry, I cannot see well. So registration form, this is very, very simple. I think you shouldn't have any problem with that. Sorry. First name, last name, city, country, job, company, and accessibility requirement, and phone number. I think you shouldn't have any problem with these questions. So I think most of you are trainees. So if you're a trainee or postdoctoral fellow, so you should kind of, okay, I need to launch this. It's going to be easy. But then, sorry, I cannot read well. Okay, maybe I see.
I'll do the clicking, you do the talking.
Oh, also, thank you. Oh, I need, because some people are hearing shift too there. So I'm a trainee or postdoctoral fellow. So if you're not, so if you're a staff, you're a research coordinator, if you're not a student or PDF, you cannot check that box. If you're not checking that box, there is no other option. So this is the first condition of the submission. You should be trainee or postdoctoral fellow that you are able to submit a poster. Some people ask me, scientists ask me, can I submit a poster? The answer is no. The scientific committee decided this year is only open for students, undergrad or graduate, and also PDF. So if you check that one, then you have two questions if you want to select. The first one, I will submit the poster as the first author. So, which means you should be the first author. And as actually posted actually in the website in the for author section, you should be the first author and you are able to submit one poster.
Maybe come closer.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So again, you should be the first author and you are able to submit one poster as the first author. You can be the co-author of many posters, but you should be the first author. So if you are the first author and you want to submit a poster, then you can check this box. As soon as you check this box, if you scroll down a bit more, you can see that another section is called poster submission. If it scrolls down,
which one?
Yeah, here.
Sorry.
And then this section opens. So if you're not going to submit the poster, you don't see this section because this is not about you. But if you want to submit the poster as the first author, then you can actually, this section is going to be open for you. That actually I'm going to cover very soon. If
you want to go up?
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Yes. And then the second question here is about trainee and networking breakfast. So as always, we had the event 1 hour before the main event. It was only for trainees. It is for trainees again. So if you're a trainee or PDF, so you are still able actually to attend for this event. This is a kind of a different topics we're going to have. We're inviting different people, scientists, to be in each table. You can be there. You can, if you have questions, actually you can ask, but you can select two topics. And as I think maybe most of you know that in the first couple of days, all seats actually are taken. But still you can try, you can register, you can be in the waiting list. It happened before that some people kind of couldn't make it, and then you can be the next people. So we're going to call in that. But so if you're interested, still you have chance actually to register, and then we will let you know that actually you're going to be invited or not. So this is going to be the first section, general information, general question, and that's it. So the second part is the registration fee. There are 4 options, but because this is info session for Kite and RSI people, so we don't need to cover all of 4. So just the second option is yours. If you are Kite or RSI member. If you are Kite or RSI member, if you click that one, you just need to say who is your supervisor or who is your manager. We already pre-authorized these people, so which means your supervisor is eligible, is actually going to receive the email. So for example, if your supervisor is Dr. Campus, you just need to use actually her email address, the UHN email. She's going to receive an email saying that, okay, this person is going interested to this event, so do you approve or not? So if as soon as actually she approves, then this section goes green and says that you're approved and you don't need to pay anything. And as a Kite member, as an RSI member this year, we sponsored that cost, so which means You don't need to pay anything. So your supervisor or if you're a staff, your manager actually can approve this section, and your registration is going to be waived. So as soon as actually you finish the first section and second section is going to be approved, then you're able to register yourself. As you see here, the deadline is May 11th, and this button is now deactivated because it's not active because we didn't fill out the form. But as soon as you fill out the form, it's going to be active, and then you can register. One question I received in the last couple of days ago: registration and submission. There are two different things. Don't confuse these two. The first one is registration, general information and payment. If you are doing these two, then you're ready to register. It shows that actually you are attending. So then now going to the second poster submission, that if you are the first author and you want to submit a poster, then you can see this section. This is the information for all of you. As you see in the blue actually highlighted here. This is what we published in December, and actually in the 4 other section. So as you see, we describe it, what that means, and who can actually register, who can submit a poster. So first author, trainee or postdoctoral fellow, if you're interested, yes, you can submit a poster. The first question is supervisor. This is a mandatory field. You need to tell us who is your supervisor. Various formal information, first name, last name, email address, and the university. If you have co-author, then if you have co-author your poster, so then you just need to check this box, add co-author. Mariam, can you click this? No, add co-author, just add it. So again, you just need to add co-authors. The order really is not important for us at this stage. So we just need to add the co-authors of your poster. Can you just remove this? Yeah. Thank you. So then after that, so you just need to tell us what is your poster title. It's going to be text box, whatever it is. And then the next one is the poster PDF. So you just need to upload the poster in the PDF format. And as you see here, we said template poster, download poster template. That actually this is for all Kite student trainees need to follow the instruction and the poster template we are giving as institute. So this is a template that actually you need to use, but also a couple of days ago, Jenny also recommended actually it's better to have a template also in the conference page that actually everyone can have access to before actually signing in this page. So we're going to do it today. So again, very straightforward. Information about your supervisor, co-authors, the title, and uploading the poster, and that's it. So submission, whoever is interested to submit the poster, these are the mandatory fields. But as Johnny explained, you have 2 more options. So this year, we're going to select people to come on a stage and present. The cap now is 20 people. So we're going to select the top submissions and ask them to, and train them to be on that stage. So if you're interested to be considered for that, you need to check the first box. Can you?
Where is it? I don't see it.
Yeah, exactly that one.
Oh, okay, this one.
Yeah, correct. As soon as you check this box, then there is another uploading system here, which means you need to upload your abstract. So abstract is not mandatory. If you want to submit a poster, you don't need to submit the abstract. Abstract is only required for people that showing the interest and they want to be considered for the presentation on a stage. Presentation on a stage is going to be 3-minute talk, and then the next student's coming. It's going to be like a role. It's like a Minute Madness, but it's going to be a bit longer, and you are going to be trained to that. So if you select that one, then you're required to upload your poster. And as you see, again, this button, the submit button, is not active because you're required to complete your form. But if you uncheck that one, again, you don't need to submit an abstract, and you can finalize and complete your submission. So another option, journal publication. We could secure a special issue in a journal of biomedical engineering. So, but again, we are going to select and invite the top submissions. So because of that, again, you need to tell us that actually you want to be considered for that special issue. So the second one, if you check that box, so you see a pop-up. So what it says, the scientific committee decided, I'm sure you're so interested to, to apply for, a journal article, this is gonna be great. But we need your supervisor approval saying that this topic or that project can be ready for the journal publication. Because sometimes you are so, you really want to have the journal publication, but your data is not going to be ready, or your REV actually are waiting for that. So it's not going to be ready. And you are just kind of say that, I want, but it's not, even you are going to be invited, but you are not able to complete your article. So that's why we need your supervisor approval. So only for this option. So what it said your supervisor will receive an email to approve this request right now, which means as soon as you confirm this, your supervisor is going to receive an email saying that this is student requested actually this publication is going to be considered for the journal publication. So, and then as I said, please note that you will no longer be able to change your supervisor's email and post a title. It is obvious because we cannot actually, for example, your supervisor cannot approve something and then you can change it. So your email and the title is going to be fixed. If you are not sure, if you want to talk with the supervisor, it's better not to do something, but do not ask for that. So wait for that, talk with your consult with supervisor. If she or he is okay, then you can ask, and then it's going to be the finalized and it's going to be fixed. These two items, the emails and the title, is going to be fixed. Can you just cancel that? So wrap it up. One of the choices, the first one here, consider for the 3-minute talk or journal publication. Either of these two. If you select, you need to submit an abstract. If you are not interested for the journal publication, if you are not interested in presentation on a stage, you don't need to submit an extended abstract. And as you see here, we have an abstract template. Some people ask, what is how actually we need to follow? This is the template that, again, we are going to publish these templates also in the main the main page that actually you can easily find it. So this is going to be the registration. So scroll down a bit, man.
Yeah. Okay.
As you see, the deadline is March 16, 2020, 11:59 p.m. This is the hard deadline. I'm telling you, the system closes at this time. So after this time, there is no way you can upload your materials because we are going to receive enough submissions. So don't kind of wait for the last minute because sometimes it happens, you are not able, and then the system closes, and then you are coming back saying that, okay, we need to upload. I'm telling you, we are not extended deadline. So there is no way. Don't expect that like last year. So this is a submission, and that is a common registration. We talk about the registration, and I'm just going over the questions. So you should be the first author. You should only be able to submit one poster. If you're interested in publication or presentation on stage, you need to also submit your extended abstract. So, so I just wanted to kind of emphasize something because I received different feedback, different things, and one of the questions that Mariam shared with me a couple of days ago was about the chance, about what's going to be my chance, about the publication, about the presentation. Generally, so we don't know. This is the first year, is kind of unknown. But presentation, we know that you're going to select 20. But the idea is, I kind of trying to understand why really is important. We had different talk, with Malash and Jenny, and I wanted to go back to the first question: what is ICAIR? So then I was thinking, really, what is ICAIR? And then I thought, okay, if I'm asking you this question, I'm asking you what is ICAIR, you could say, oh, this is another research day, or it's a good thing. Actually, I'm going to have a free lunch, or it's going to be interesting for me as always. Or you can say, oh, this year is going to be bigger stage. It's going to be something different. I can learn. I can connect. I can make a connection. All this kind of thing. I can ask this question and you can respond in different ways. But I can tell you in all cases, all answers are correct. Because we are not defining ICAIR for you. You are defining ICAIR for yourself. So it can be a small thing. It can be just a formal gathering, or it can be a big deal for you. You define it. I can tell you, I just wanted to give you some kind of why we're doing this. Last year, we hired 3 trainees among you for different projects at Kite. Two of them, actually, we hired them only based on 15 minutes talk, actually, or conversation we had in an informal setting. Because they use that opportunity. Always take any chances. I'm not talking about ICAIR, I'm just talking about any opportunity. We are trying to help you. We are trying to find talent. We are trying to find people with right attitudes that actually really, really want to do their best. I want to share with you two lessons that actually I'm sure all of you learned in your life so far, but sometimes you forget, like me. Recently, I was reminded by my two mentors. I wanted to share with you what happened, and I think it's going to be relevant to this because I received different feedback from different students, and I'm kind of wanted to share with you my thoughts as well. I think most of you know Dr. Jeff Fernie. He's one of my mentors. He's a great speaker, without any doubt. If you ask him to talk about the research, about the project, about the Kite, in 1 minute or 1 hour, you are just enjoying every second of it. About 1 month ago, he had a presentation. I knew that. I went to his office, I knocked the door. He didn't notice, actually, I'm there. I just went to his office, and then I noticed, actually, he was practicing his talk. And then he noticed, actually, I'm there, and then he stopped talking, and he thought, oh, Majid, you are here. And then he looked at his watch and said, okay, Majid, yeah, I think the timing is perfect. The presentation timing is perfect now. To be honest, I kind of paused for a couple of seconds. I said, wow, we're talking about, this is Jeff. This is a great speaker, excellent speaker. But he's practicing, he's double checking the timing to make sure this is perfect. The point is, why I'm sharing this with you, because for me, it was a reminder for me, because always challenge yourself to be the best you can be. Not to wait for, okay, I can do better, or okay, it's okay, or this is just, research, or this is just I could. Don't think that way. Always challenge yourself to be the best you can be. And you're like, there is no improvement. There shouldn't be any improvement in it. Just do it. And I think it was a kind of reminder for me. And then another lesson for me was, we were working on the project, a manager are involved, and I was responsible for that project. Some components on that project were out of our control. So I was worried because I was responsible. And then one day, Dr. Povich came to my office, and we talked about the project, and we talked about, if it goes wrong, what happened? And this is very interesting. And Dr. Povich told me, Majid, we did our best. Whatever, any approach we wanted to find, we found it. There is no better option at the moment. If it goes well, it's amazing. If it doesn't go well, it's still amazing. Because we can learn, we can try another thing. So the lesson here is, don't be afraid to fail. Don't think about, if it's not accepted, or if it's not going to be accepted, or if I cannot be, I don't understand. If I'm going to be in that state, what's going to happen? I think anything you learn from this process is going to be win for you. It's going to be something. It's going to be great foundation for you, for your success. It's going to be something interesting for you. So enjoy every moment, but take advantage of every second of the event. I'm not talking about the ICAIR. I'm talking about any opportunities you can have in your life. So the quality of the posters you are going to submit, the people you are going to meet, the presentations you are going to have, the connections you are going to make, these are going to define the ICAIR for you. So I ask you today, how you're going to define ICAIR for yourself? So don't be discouraged, just do your best, and I'm sure it's going to be a great experience for you. Thank you.
So, Jen,
Sure. What Majid said was excellent. You never know who you're going to meet at the event. We are opening it for internationally. You can get your next postdoctoral fellowship mentor. You can get your next PhD position that way, or you can get the job. There's going to be a lot of companies. There's going to be professors from all kinds of different universities, from Canada, from US. They're all going to come. And putting the best foot forward, as Majid suggested, and not suggested, it encourages you to do that. It allows you to shine and get an opportunity to open some other doors that are right now not open to you. So always do the best you can in any situation that you have, right? And don't worry if you're going to be the first or you're going to get accepted or not. Work towards it that your poster is the best that you can have. If you do it that way and you follow the instructions, probability of you being selected is very high. Okay? So focus on that. Focus that you do the best job you can, and then if you have a poster presentation, that opens opportunities for you to meet other people and do wonderful things for yourself. Okay?
So thank you, Majid, for explaining what ICAIR is, basically. So now we're going to open it up to questions for a few minutes. Then we will have Jenny and Tilak talk about what is a good poster and how to craft a good poster. This also goes for the folks online who are joining us remotely. You can post your questions in the chat box, and Majid can answer those.
Any question?
For the special issue, I know it's the Journal of Environmental Engineering, and it says interdisciplinary. Are there can you submit anything?
So,
I want to talk about bone health.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question is, are we allowed to submit any topic actually for the journal publication? Oh yeah. Thank you. Any topic, actually, we set the area of focus in the website. So if you are going to submit, your poster based on the area of focus actually we said about aging, innovation, and rehabilitation is under that category, yes, it can be invited. So this is a special issue. We already talked with the editors there, so they accept different topics that are actually under this category.
Second question.
Even it's not engineering. Yes.
Second question: when would the paper have to be ready for submission?
Okay, the question is when the paper or journal article is going to be invited or is going to be actually accepted. So after the conference, May 25th, that the committee is going to create it. We're going to have an international committee. We're going to select, based on the ranking evaluation, we're going to select the top candidates, and we are sending the invitation. So generally it takes, we are giving about 3 months to complete the article. And then after that, it's going to be the deadline is going to be about 3 or 4 months, and then it's about maybe 3 months review process. So most likely by the end of, the publication and acceptance notification is going to be by the end of this year. But the time-wise, after the conference, consider about 3 to 4 months actually to complete and prepare your article. Yes.
If you're just interested in the journal publication, do you have to then also craft the poster regardless?
Yes. So the question is, if you want to have a journal, are you interested in only journal articles, so do we need to submit a poster? The answer is yes. Poster is mandatory for any kind of, to be present, to have that opportunity. So we didn't announce it officially, but I can tell you now. So for that event, we have 2 awards. One award is going to be Best Poster Award, and another one is going to be Best Presentation Award. So we're going to talk about, we are going to release more information on how we're going to do it, but everyone in the during of the launch time is going to be about 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. in that period. So everyone can vote, and you need to be next to your posters. You are going to be evaluated, and the winner is going to be announced on that day.
Is there any restriction to add the number of co-authors, like 3 or 4?
The question is, is there any limit for the number of co-authors? No, there is no limit. Okay.
Are we able to submit our poster after submission or as soon as we submit it, it's done?
So the question is, after pressing the click or submit button, or even registration, can we edit? The answer is no, because we says that. As soon as you want to submit, we are getting the confirmation. Make sure there is no edit more. If you're submit, there is no way actually to edit after that. Of course, if really something by mistake happened, we can help you actually open the account again. But we are recommending to make sure everything is a final final materials. So I can wait actually for the Q&A session. I think it's maybe Tilak and Jenny are going to talk about the poster, and then I'm going to answer the power play. Thank you.
Right. Well, we're gonna have to, yeah, we'll do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Miriam's giving me my marching orders, as she should, which is don't talk too much, which I do. So, but she also indicated we have a bit of a buffer time until about quarter after, and then we have to be out of the room. So this is going to be a bit of a quick high-level description of how to craft a good poster, but we encourage you to ask further questions, connect with Tilak and I later. All of these materials will be made available to you so you can review them afterwards, but take advantage of those because we know that this will be fairly quick and high level. Okay, so this is how we're structuring part 2. So I'm going to speak mainly about how to structure the narrative of your poster. For those of you who were at the OGS session this morning, you'll notice some consistencies across what we talked about, and some guiding design principles, so how to kind of design your poster. Then Tilak is going to talk about and provide some tangible examples of posters, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then he'll turn it back to me and talk about the general evaluation criteria that are going to be used for the peer review process. So it wasn't emphasized so much earlier, but some of the extremely valuable components of this conference that are going to be good from a CV building perspective are obviously that it's now an international conference, and second, that it's peer reviewed. So both of those things are going to be of great importance to building your CV. Okay. So I think this is the old version, but that's okay. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. So, in terms of structuring your narrative, I don't think any of this is going to be surprising to people. This is basically how we structure any of our scientific writing with respect to first providing some example or first providing some information about the background, the importance of the problem or topic that you're addressing, then really narrow it down to some very specific aims or objectives of your research. Describing with sufficient amount of detail the approach and design that you took for your study, and then the results are obviously what did you discover. So using figures and results of your analyses to describe the what did you find, and then an impact section or a discussion section at the end that can talk about the implications, significance, consequences, future research of your study. And I put this little graphic here because this is something that I rely on a lot. I use it in my brain all the time whenever I'm crafting any kind of scientific writing, and that includes a one-page OGS proposal, and that also includes crafting a poster. And what it is that when you look at the top, you have an inverted pyramid. What this means is that in your background section, you really want to start off very broad. You want to say, what is kind of your big question of interest? You want to contextualize it for your reader, for your audience. And then you want to kind of narrow down. You want to say, okay, now that this is the big question, this is a big conceptualization. What do we know about this? You're getting a little narrower. But what do we not know about this? What are some of the gaps in this literature, in this domain of knowledge? So we go from broad, narrowing in. Now that we know what the gaps are, what are we doing about it? What are our objectives? What is the aim of our study? So start big and then zone right in and be very specific about what the objectives of your study are. What are you aiming to do? Then you have your methods section, and this is largely going to depend on what type of research that you're doing and what kind of methods that you're using. As a psychologist in my lab, we will often think about, having ensured that we address who we are studying, who our participants are, what are the apparatus, the tools, the stimuli, the techniques that we're using, and then what is the procedure in terms of what people did, including the experimental design. And when I put IVDV, that's a reminder to myself to say, don't forget in your method section that you want to include your independent variables. So that's what you're manipulating, or that's what you're looking at the differences between. So maybe you're looking at age-related differences or differences between a stroke and a non-stroke population. Maybe it's the differences in your design in terms of whether someone was walking slow, fast, or moderately, et cetera, et cetera. So you have factors that you're manipulating in your design. Those are your independent variables. Make sure those are crisp and clear. Your dependent variables, your DVs, are your measures, your outcomes. So what are you measuring? You did this study, and then you have some outputs. What are the metrics that you're using to be able to help answer your question? Then you'll obviously have a results section. Tillich will speak a little bit about how you can make your results kind of pop and become very intuitive. A lot of times that's using figures and graphics to help you do that. And then once you get to your last section, you've got now sort of upright pyramid where you kind of can start very tightly with what did I find, just to summarize in a nutshell. What did I find in this study? And then bring it out and say, who cares? What is the significance of this? How does this fit into the bigger picture? So this is a flow that I always keep in my brain, and I always talk about a thread that runs through this through these sections, because what you want to do is you want to make sure that they're mirroring each other. So when you say, here are my 3 objectives, then you want to look at your methods and you want to say, okay, in my methods, am I saying how I'm testing those objectives, the how? So here's my objective 1, here's how I'm going to test it, or here's how I tested it. Mirror those, make sure that they're aligned. Same with the results. Here's my objectives, here's how I tested it, and here's what I found. So make sure that that thread is not broken. Make sure that you have that in your mind as you're crafting these materials, because that becomes really important for the flow. Okay, so these, again, very high level. These are given to you. It's not new, I'm sure. The first thing is that in terms of guiding design principles is to look at existing templates and examples. There's so many available right now that you can use to see what appeals to you and what doesn't, what works and what doesn't. We already know that there's a template available on the website that you can use that is a Kite-specific template. There have been questions in the past about how rigidly should you stick to that template. I think we're loosening that a little bit than we have previously, because the template is useful, very useful for a few reasons. One is that it helps with consistent branding. So when you go to an international conference, if you have 20 Kite trainees or scientists who are presenting there, and you have a consistent branding, use the same kind of logo and style template, it's so easy to recognize, and all of a sudden Kite presence is felt. I've used this in other institutes that I've worked for. The Max Planck Institute does this very often. It is a very effective way to increase brand recognition and to kind of elevate the profile of the institute. It also is useful to have a template because, especially if you're new to this process of crafting a poster, it gives you something that you don't have to start from scratch. You have the subheadings there, you can use that, and again, it can be useful as a tool. Of course, the cons are that you don't want to have to be restricted to using that to such a rigid extent. There's lots of sort of creative ways that you can craft your poster and design it that are novel and unique and might also increase interest in your poster. And so we're not suggesting that you stick rigidly to exactly how this template is organized. You can take some liberties for certain, but again, if maintaining kind of a branding is, even if it's just kind of in the header, is advisable. Okay, so know your audience. Majid touched on this very briefly. Just do a time check here. And so you know that this is interdisciplinary. You know that this is scientists and non-scientists. So keep that in mind. And that kind of relates to some of these other points, which is don't use jargon, use common language, use language that's intuitive. Don't assume people are going to be familiar with your techniques or familiar with your field. Be concise. Don't use too much text. This is the biggest problem with posters, hands down. People like to put in a lot of text. It's a crutch because it allows you to read off your poster, and also it's easier because it's harder to be concise. It's easier to be verbose. So you have to strike that balance because you do have to include enough information for the reviewers to know what you did and why it's important, but you don't want to create a paper in the form of a poster. Consider using graphics and infographics for that same reason. Avoid clutter, less is more, keep it streamlined. Make the content accessible. Remember that there will be people in the audience who have vision loss, people who have hearing loss. So when you're delivering your poster and when you're crafting it, keep those things in mind. Have your materials reviewed by everybody, your supervisor, your lab mates, your family, and then practice. And it seems preemptive to say practice your poster when you're submitting it because you're not having to deliver it yet, but you'll discover very clearly that you've crafted it in a certain way, but then when you go to deliver it, it doesn't actually work. The flow is not there. So practice delivering it even when it's just to the point where you're crafting it. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Tillich at this point.
It's a great overview, Jenny. I really have only 2 points to add to this, which is just when you're actually sitting down, trying to put text boxes and images, graphs, and tables on your actual pages, what should you be thinking about? And I think there's really just 2 things. One of them relates back to what Jenny was saying. Think about your audience and the context in which you're trying to present this poster. So it's a stuffy, I'm just going to go back so people aren't distracted by this for a second. Sorry, so you're in the past, I'm not sure what our new venue is going to be like. In the past, imagine yourself in a pretty stuffy room. You've got 99 other posters, people standing next to posters, trying to present posters. It's tough to walk from one poster to the next. You're really competing for attention in that space. Think about, and this has been one of the consistent bits of feedback that we've heard back from presenters, is that few people came to see my poster. Your job is to make your poster look attractive to your audience. You have to work at that. Otherwise, people won't make the effort to push through the crowd to get to you. So there's 2 things really that I think, and Jenny already touched on one of them, this less is more idea. So there's a couple of little GIFs here that highlight this for graphs and for tables, but what I think it does, but I think what you should be doing is thinking about this idea for your poster in general. What is the core of your message? Strip away everything else that you don't need to be part of that poster to get to that core message. And you can see the difference that it makes, for instance, even in a graph. The less stuff you have on there, the more clearly your message gets across. Right? So this is the case for the graph, and I'll let that go through. And then I'll show you the one for the table. So the same idea with tables. The less you try to the more you streamline, get rid of shading and lines and bolding and all this other stuff, the clearer your message gets through again for these tables. Let's let this play through here. Left aligning things seems to look more professional right now. Is when you look at anything, if you have people that center a lot of things, it doesn't look as professional as if you left align. So try to do that if you have an option. I mean, some of this stuff is super obvious. It's obvious in retrospect, but when you're actually doing your own tables, it's worth coming back to it to think about, is it something that's helping me, grouping things, highlighting the piece of text that is the most important there. So we have a couple of examples here. This is one example that's obviously a bad poster that isn't inviting. If you were trying to compete with 99 other posters in that room, people would not come to this poster to look at it. It's not drawing you in. What are some of the things that you could do to make this better? I think everyone would agree there's the color choices aren't very good, and the template that Majid has provided addresses that problem to the most degree. The other main thing I think that I like to stress with all of my students is to place everything on the poster intentionally. So and so to do that well, so in general, if you have the first text box you place, you might have a header and like a label for the section that you have, so that this is your problem section, and you have a text box. Those 2 things should be placed and aligned carefully to each other. And there's a great tool in PowerPoint that lets you do that very easily. How many people use this align tool? They're aware of it. So this is really, if you're not using these align tools, you should be using them for every text box you have, both horizontally and vertically. You should think about this poster as a grid, is how I always suggest for other people. And using these tools, you can, once you have the first, you select, you shift click on a number of text boxes, then you can center them all or left align them all and make sure that, so for instance, if we go to the better poster example, you can see that the headings are aligned both left to right and vertically in columns. The more you can pick lines that have common things aligning along them, the better off you'll be. I think that's what makes posters look a little bit more professional. If you pick up any professionally laid out document, if it's a newspaper or a book or whatever, you'll see this trend. You'll see things are aligned along common things as much as possible. In this case, one thing I just noticed was the title block is, the text in the title block isn't aligned to the other stuff in this poster. So if I was tweaking this a bit, and to go back to what Majid was saying, you know, try your best at this, spend some time to do these little fixes. They don't seem that important, but from across the room when you're trying to compete with 99 other posters, it will make a difference. I would align the text in that title block with either the blue boxes that are below them or the body text in the image, just to create more commonality in the vertical axis there. I think that's really all I wanted to point out. So less is more. So what you saw going from this cluttered thing, this is actually taking the same project, the same information, stripping it down using bullet points, trying to pick out what are the key things we're trying to pass on, and putting it in a form that kind of follows a grid. Back to you.
This is the last slide.
No, I'm just taking some recordings.
Oh, okay.